but I want you to hold me tight. Know the way I'm talking may be devoid of charm.
Hello, everybody. It's Ted E. Fame, formerly of Tony Williams Platters, and here I am. I'm making my first live stream. You guys noticed me from making all those videos about my life as a former member of the Platters. I have a whole series of those things on my channel, so check them out. They're very interesting. They go into detail about all the things that go on tour, doing shows, backstage, and even conversations between group members, and the kind of stuff that you guys will never see or know that occur when you're on the road doing tours. So I think you guys are going to enjoy that. Also, I have my songs that I've recorded with my own group and as a solo artist that I also have on my page. But the most important thing is this channel was created to share my life with you guys, and stories about my life that I just want everybody to know about, that I found fascinating. And it would be a shame that people would have never been able to hear these stories, or just a few people know about these stories. Man, come on, I fixed this. What is going on with this thing? I opened a wizard. I did that. I'm trying my best to do this live stream with YouTube, and it keeps telling me about I don't know why YouTube don't want to get my stuff. But anyway, I'm making this attempt to do this live stream, and hopefully it'll get across to you guys. There's going to be many of these to come. This is the first of many I'm going to be doing. And if the live stream don't go through, at least I'll have the video. So we'll start from here, but it's just going to be about who I am, you know, and all the things I've done. You know, from the age of 18, I've been in the music profession in some capacity on a professional level up until then. But it goes way further back than that. I can remember at maybe 8, 9 years old, hearing Stevie Wonder's song, what's the name of the song? Sign, Seal, Deliver. And then actually seeing a band. My first experience with a band, I have to say, was a block party on my block in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy on Quincy Street. It was 1968, and Stevie Wonder music was really popular at the time. Anyway, this band, they were playing Sign, Seal, Deliver live, and I never heard a band play that song. I never even seen a band, really, up until that point. And I was I stood at the foot of that stage performance the whole time. Even when they took a break, I wanted to talk to the guys and ask them about what it's like being a musician. And then they even told me they was doing another gig later that night after they finished this block party. And they actually told me where it was at. So I knew where it was at, and it wasn't too far from where I live. So, believe it or not, when the band finished performing at our block party, I snuck away and I followed them, their van, to the next gig. That was maybe about 10 blocks away, something like that, 10, 15 blocks away. But I did it, and I followed them. It was at it was at a church, if I'm not mistaken, it was at a church. And I was like, wow. I watched them set up, and then later on that evening, and about after they set up, they let me come in, and I watched them. Now you gotta remember now, I didn't tell anybody that I was doing that. I just left. I just did it because I was so taken and overwhelmed by this band that nothing was more important, and so I didn't care. So now everybody's worried because I'm what, 9 years old, 8, 9 years old. So everybody's going, where the hell is Teddy? You know, so nobody knew I was, and they didn't finish playing till like 12 o'clock. So I didn't get home till like maybe 1 or something like that. And back then you ain't had no cell phones or some shit like that. So you know, no beepers or nothing. You know, you had a dime, you get on the public phone, find a public phone, you make a call, and hopefully somebody answers the phone. Anyway, didn't do any of that. So after that band performance, and I left and went home, I got a royal ass whipping from everybody. I mean, my mom said they even called the cops and thought I was kidnapped. You know, filed a report on me. But it was worth it because that was the day I got the bug to do this music thing, and it's been a bug in me from that point until now. Actually, there's some other instances during my youth, those crucial years that I remember distinctively, that was crucial and influential into me being making a music a career. And that was when I saw the Jackson 5 the first time. Matter of fact, the first time I saw the Jackson 5, they were on I think the Andy Griffin show or something like that. And there was a group that came on before them. This had to be like 69. It had to be like 69, yeah. And, I didn't see him on Ed Sullivan yet. I saw him on that show. And the group that came on before the Jackson 5 was called Route 66 or something of that name. And I thought that was a cool ass name. And then they said the Jackson 5. I said, oh, that's not even a cool. I don't even like. That's a stupid name, the Jackson 5. I like the Route 66 name. That's a more cool name. Now I'm a kid now. All right? I'm only 9 years old. Matter of fact, Michael Jackson's like a year older than me. He was born in 58. I was born in 59. So the group that was called Route 66, it was a rock group. So I wasn't really crazy about the music. But then the Jackson 5 came on. And they did I Want You Back. Now, we ain't never saw nothing like that. Some kids playing guitar and singing and dancing. Man, shit. Man, that blew our mind. And, you know, that was a talk. Everybody was talking about that. And like I said, I was around Michael's age. And I wanted to sing. And I had a voice like Michael at the time. I had that high voice. And I could sing those songs that he sung. And now that really made me start becoming popular in my hood, my neighborhood. And I remember that I used to get paid money from my cousins to sing songs. One of my cousins liked this song called I Found Love on a Two-Way Street. I think it's about this group called The Moments. And he would pay me freaking 25 cents, a quarter. Let me tell you something. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, a quarter, shit, that was like $1. That was a lot of money for kids back then, man. You know, you could, a quarter, you could still buy a penny candy at that time. Do you know how much candy you can buy with a quarter? Shit. Man, I used to sing that song. I was singing 2-3 times in a row. And anytime he wanted to sing it, because I still had that high, natural high voice at the time. And I didn't sing in the falsetto, I was singing my natural voice. I had a high voice like Michael Jackson. Now if I sing, I have to sing in falsetto. I can't do too much singing right now. I had to warm up. The older you get, Gotta crank that, warm it up, get the thing to act right. But once you get it warmed up, it's right on beat. You're right on point. So, yeah, I was like, that Jackson 5, and my cousins, who were girls, my mother's sister kids, me and my brothers were really close to, and we was all around the same age. So we would go visit them a lot, and we would watch like the Ed Sullivan Show and stuff like that, and we would act like we the groups and would mimic them. And yeah, as a matter of fact, my cousins Renee and Valerie, I think, was in like a talent show in their neighborhood. They were from Gowanus Projects in Brooklyn, and they had some talent shows there. And I remember going to see them at a talent show, and that's when I really got said, no, I gotta do that. I want to be that. And from that point on, I knew some way that seed was planted, and I was going to become somehow, some way, an entertainer in the show business. I didn't really think I could sing all that great, but it was an okay voice. But I was determined anyway. And in the early 70s, I went through my Michael Jackson phase. But then by the mid-70s, my Michael Jackson phase had passed, and then my voice had changed, and I got older. Michael Jackson's voice changed, he got older, and they wasn't as popular as they was like in the early 70s. So a lot of these groups started becoming popular. I remember specifically Ohio Players, Skin Tight. I mean, I remember going to school on a school bus, and one of the guys would have that song, somebody would have a radio, and they would be playing the radio, and that song come on the radio, and they would turn the radio up, so all the kids would be riding the school bus, listening to that song. Oh man, that's some memories. Yeah, so music has always been one of those things that affected me emotionally, and I wanted to. It was the only thing that had my attention. It would make me go out of my way to do something that nothing else had I've ever done. And I was a big sports. I love sports. I love playing football. Played football in junior high school. Basketball. I love sports. Really good at it, but I didn't love it like I love music. Because at the same time, when I was playing football, I remember, especially in 7th grade, I was playing football, and I had a music class. So I would go to my music class, and then after my music class, I go to football practice. So that was always there. I love that. I also remember that football teams wasn't really that good. And I was pretty good on the teams. As a matter of fact, I was a starter, because all the teams, basketball team, football team, I was always a starter. Team sucked, but I was a starter. But my heart wasn't really into it like it was into music, and I was always find a way to drift away from music to sports, and then back again to music. And the last time was, I would think, my senior year in high school. Yep. I went out for the basketball team, and I got cut. But at the same time, I had a music class. So I always had a music class. I always made sure I had a music class. When I was in school, I made sure I was signed up for a music program. So when I got cut from the basketball team, I realized right then that I needed to be focused. Music is the thing that I should be focused on. So that's when I decided to put all my energy and focus on and then at that time I still didn't want to be no singer. And I was studying guitar for a while, for about a year or so. No, about a year. And I kind of got bored with it. But then I picked up the bass and I found my instrument. At least I found an instrument that kept me interested in practicing. Because the thing that I'll tell you, musicians will tell you all the time, why there are not a lot of good musicians out there today? Practice. People don't want to practice. As we musicians call it, woodshedding or shedding. That's all, just you by yourself, doing all the same thing over and over and over and over again until you get it so good, it becomes second nature. It takes years for some people, and for others, multiple years. Some of us pick it up quicker than others, but yeah, that practicing thing, man, that's something else. And but you have to have something that motivates you enough to make you want to practice, right? And as the 70s was going on, as I got into my high school years, that's when I really started getting to funk music. I wasn't a Jackson 5 fan no more. Matter of fact, Jackson 5 had left Motown, and the music they was doing after they left Motown wasn't really my cup of tea. So I was getting older, and then I was starting liking some of the older artists' music, you know, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Commodores. Oh man, the Commodores, I must have been the biggest Commodore fan. That's probably, I would say through the mid-70s, the Commodores was my #1 group. Commodores was my #1 group, I have to say it. Over Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah, over Earth, Wind and Fire. Everybody loved Earth, Wind and Fire. I loved Earth, Wind and Fire too, don't get me wrong, I love their music. But I love the Commodores. So the Commodores was, yeah, the Commodores was that group that really, really, really got me going. I want to type something for myself into the chat to see if this is cool. I'm on live stream now. Did I type it? Oh, I didn't even type it. My bad. I'm on live stream now. Okay, I did my first, post my first thing online. I said, yeah, there we go. I see it. Just want to make sure that's working. So, where was I? Oh. So yeah, Earth, Wind and Fire was my thing, and then I got into P-Funk. Oh, there was a couple of white groups I liked at the time, so I ain't gonna lie. Elton John, I like that song, Benny and the Jets. David Bowie, I like that song, Fame. Hall & Oates, Sarah Smile was a song I really love by them. And my favorite group, now people gonna laugh and think I'm crazy. My favorite rock group at that time was Kiss. Now I'm gonna tell you why. It wasn't so much that I thought there was a great musical band or great music. I thought they were a great visual, theatrical band. I thought they gave you the whole package. The music, the entertainment, the look, the costumes, the whole gear. It was amazing, you know. And the only other group that I love that was like that was P-Funk. When you went to see P-Funk or Kiss at the Madison Square Garden, you went to see an event. And both of those groups never let me down when it came to events. They were high power events. Let me tell you, I really, that solidified that in me. That's when my first band was called Transcendence. And I played bass. I was a bass and lead singer in that band. And we had the costumes with the friends on it and the spandex. Oh man, you couldn't tell us nothing, man, at that time. I just knew I was on to something there. But I didn't understand. It was more a superficial thing than it was an actual love for the music. I love what it represented more than the actual thing itself, because I wasn't like really crazy about the songs. It was just more of the event, it felt like, with Kiss. And it wasn't until I started my first band was Transcendence, and that was, when was that? 78. I graduated from high school in 78, so I had my first band in like 78, 79. So I had my first band, Transcendence, but I was a bass player. By the 80s, I had already, and in Transcendence, we were actually writing our own songs. We were doing cover songs, but we were writing our own songs too. So by the 80s, I was actually focused on doing my own music, and although I was in other bands, I wanted to be an artist. And at that time, don't forget, what made the transition from being a musician to a singer was that after the band broke up, I wasn't trying to be in another band, so I wasn't playing bass so much more. And I was in an unstable home, moving back and forth, and I left my bass at my friend's house, and his house got robbed, and they stole my bass, his guitar, some other stuff. And from that experience, I realized that bass thing was going to be a fad, because I only wanted to play one style of bass play, and that was funk. I only wanted to be a funk bass player. But I knew I had to learn how to play jazz and all other stuff if I wanted to be a well-rounded bass player. And jazz music wasn't something that I really was interested in at that time. It wasn't R&B, funk. I wasn't interested in it. So I knew that I'm going to have to find another thing about music if I'm going to stay in this as a career. And I didn't want to be a musician anymore. And because I could sing, even though not great, but I could sing, I said, you know what, let's focus on this singing thing. And try this out and see what happens with this singing thing. So the singing thing happened around 81. Yeah, is when I started transitioning. I met the bass player from this group called the Strikers. His name is Skip, Willie Skip Slaughter. I'll never forget Skip. And I had a song that I wrote and called Private Party. And he thought it was a cool song. And he said if I could pay for the session, he'll get the musicians. If I could pay for the studio time, he'll get the musicians and do it for free. So I came up with the money for the studio time. Skip took us to the studio and produced that record. we had a release party, put the band together, performed the song, everything, man. We was trying to get a deal, but nothing ever came from it. And I got a little taste of what it's going to be like to be in the business. But still discouraging because no kind of real breaks besides local stuff. And I wanted to go a little further and do more. So I was always on the hunt for the next thing. Matter of fact, at the time I was going around especially in Manhattan, they had what they call, it wasn't open mics then. Yeah, was it open mics? I forgot what they called back then. And what happened is the certain clubs would have, I think it was called open mic. And certain clubs would have these open mics, and they would have a piano player. Back then, it wasn't no tracks. There wasn't no such thing as tracks back then. So what you would do, you would come up with the sheet music. You would get the sheet music to the piano player, and hope that the piano player was familiar with the song well enough that he didn't jack up your song, or when you have to perform it, or could play it decently, so you got to perform it. So you try to find sheet music, and now you got to remember back then, especially in Manhattan, most of those piano players was white people, so they wasn't too familiar with R&B, that real R&B stuff. So if it wasn't like top 10, top 40 R&B, they didn't know a lot of R&B stuff. So you had to kind of stay a little popish, where they would know the music, so they wouldn't jack up your song so much, because they couldn't really read it all that great. And if they could read it, it didn't feel the way it felt on the record, because the arrangements are way different on the sheet music than it is on the records. The records is the producer, the sheet music is the songwriter. So yeah, that's how that works. So you're trying to find some music that it's passable, put it that way. Will be passable with the people. And that was one of the ways to do it. So I would do stuff, I would do, it's been so long I can't remember the songs I used to do back then. What was the songs I used to do back then? I can't remember any of those songs I did back then. Oh, On the Wings of Love by Jeffrey Osborne. Remember that one? What's another song I did back then? Because I got kind of popular with those keyboard players. Oh, I would do some like Motown stuff. They was familiar with Motown stuff. Yeah, do some Motown stuff. Basically, a lot of Motown stuff. Those white piano players, they was familiar with a lot of Motown stuff, so they could play Motown stuff. So I would do like My Girl, some early Marvin Gaye stuff that they was familiar with. And I did that for a few years, and then we would go uptown, and they started doing it uptown in Harlem. Now you had the black dudes up there doing it. Now they knew black music, but now they coming out of the church, so they bringing that church thing with them. Now they singing. All right, so that was very intimidating. But at that same time, I'm gonna tell you how brave I was. I actually went on the Apollo Theater amateur night. I had to do it at least 3 or 4 times. I never won, but I never got booed off that sucker either. Actually, the first, and now we did this before they put it on TV. So this was a year or so before it was on TV. I think they went on TV in 84, 85, somewhere around there. Because I did the Apollo, I think from 80, maybe 81 to 83. I was doing Apollo. And Was that right? Somewhere around there. And the first time I went on Apollo, I went on with this a cappella group. And we did Joanna by Kool and Gang. Now, what year that Joanna came out? Because it was a hit record at that year. That's the year we first went on Apollo. And I sung lead, and the guys sung background. And that sound, oh man, I don't know, we should have won, but they had some great, I'm telling you, they had some great singers up there. Was this doo-wop group, because I was singing with those guys for about a year. I met those guys, I was walking down the street, and heard these guys singing, and I said, man, I got to do that. I want to be with those guys. I want to do what they're doing. And got to meet them, talk, and told them I was a singer, and hung out with them a while. When I went to some of the places they went around, even sung with them. And then I got good enough where they start sharing the money with me. And man, we were going around the city. We used to go down on West 4th Street on Sundays. And we used to sing over there on, what was that street called? Houston Street or something down there? Either way, we used to stop the traffic because there'd be so many people standing around watching us sing. The traffic would stop. And we had our donation bucket out there. They would be full, man. We was making money back then doing that shit. Doing it for, man, street entertainers in New York back then was a good lesson, especially singing out in the subway. We used to make money singing down in the subway too. Singing out in the subway and doing those street stuff. Good training ground, and you make a little bit of money at the time. So I got my ear for singing harmony, singing with the a cappella group for about a year or so. So when the Apollo Theater came around, we did that. Then after that a cappella group, I met this other guy who had a band, and they needed a singer. Another opportunity at the right time. So I stopped singing with the a cappella group, and I started singing with this band. Right? Now, I wanted to go on Apollo with the band and do amateur night, but they was too chicken shit. They was scared to do it, so I said, hey, I'll do it by myself. So I went on Apollo again. This time I sung Lady. I sung Lady by Kenny Rogers. Yeah, I sung Lady by Kenny Rogers. Didn't win, but I didn't get booed off again. I didn't get booed off that time either. Right? Still, nothing happened. I just kept singing around various places with that band. We would do, the thing I like about that band is where we would do those after-hour spots where they wouldn't open till like 2 in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning, and they'd be open till like 7 or 8 the next morning, and we would be like the live entertainment. We could make like $50 each doing that. Oh man, that was fun. That was fun. And it was different. It was a few of those night spots, those after-hour spots that we could go to and do that. That was a lot of fun doing that for a while. But that only lasted for a while, doing that. And still hustling out there, trying to, I was going to, somewhere or another, I was going to do what I got to do. And around 80, I put my band back together, Favor Fortune back together, around 83. 82, I was going to this computer programming school. And that's when I decided to put the band back together. Because I got some money from a student loan. And I used that student loan money to put the band back together. And that's what I did. Yeah. And ended up dropping out of that freaking computer programming school. And I just finished paying, believe it or not. They want, the government, they lend you some money. They want their money back. And it was, I just paid that shit off like 4 or 5 months ago from a student loan that I had back in 1982. They was chasing me for that money. So, and believe it or not, all the money I paid them, I paid more than this because I paid all that delinquency fees and shit from that student loan, but I paid it off. But I used that money to get the band, and then I quit the school. It was a computer programming school. It's called CPU. Computer Programming Unlimited. And that was down on 14th Street. And I was going to school there and learning how to do that computer programming. But at the same time, I was doing the band thing. And I used that money to go back in the studio and record some more songs. Because I just knew my way out was going to be as a singer in the music business. So, man, that didn't go anywhere. It was a good experience. The band played a few places, a few spots in Manhattan. We played a few spots in Manhattan. Yeah, band played a few spots. Some growing pains. All that's growing pains, right? So after that, what happened? After that, I met another musician producer guy named Mike Edwards, and I had some other songs that I wrote because I was still writing. I was writing, man. I'm a writer, so I was writing songs. And it was a song I wrote that he wanted to produce on me. Actually, he ended up producing. Mike Edwards produced that one song on me. And then Joe Ham produced about 2 or 3 songs, about 3 songs on me. Joe Ham produced about 3 songs, 3 or 4 songs, I'm not sure. And there was an ad in the Village Voice, a producer looking for a male singer to record a track. So I answered the ad. I sent them something with me singing. They said, okay, all the singers, we like your voice the best. So I went into the studio in Manhattan to record this one song. The song was never got released. And I forgot the name of the song. But it was like, the song was called Not Just Another Lover. Not Just Another Lover. It should have been a female singing that song, first of all. And it was like a Janet Jackson kind of song. We did that in the Manhattan studios, right? So, nothing really happened from that song, but I do remember producers really liked working with me. So they invited me to come over to their little studio to work with them on some other songs they had. I ended up doing with this producer, maybe 2 more songs. And then I had another song that I wrote that I asked him to produce on me. And they did that song. So I got about 3 or 4 songs from him. But nothing really happened for none of those songs I recorded for them, or produced, that he produced. And all this time, I'm still hustling. So now, one day I'm working as a Xerox copy operator in a all-for-one store, and they had a little section where they were selling Xerox copy. Matter of fact, the owner of the store was Dana Matthau, who was Walter Matthau's nephew. And I worked for him. And right here, it was on the corner of 56th and 8th. 56th and 8th Avenue. This was 84, 85. And One day, the manager of the Platters came in to get some copies made. And I happened to be the one that waiting on them. And I happened to be making a copy of the contract. And I noticed that it said the Platters, and I'm like, wow, the Platters? So me and the manager were talking. And, you know, I mentioned to him that I was a singer, looking for my opportunity, for my big break. And let them know that if they ever needed a singer, man, come by, look me up. And it just so happens, a little while after that, I can't remember how long, weeks or a month after, but a little while after that, the manager came back by the store and said that they just happened to be looking for a singer. One of the singers is leaving the group, and they're looking for a replacement, and they remembered me, and I'd like to come out for audition. And I said, well, I can do you one better because I'm also singing around the corner tonight at this spot called the Yale Triple Win, right on 54th Street, right across the street from Studio 54. And you could see me singing live with a piano player. That was the open mic thing. And see how I perform, as opposed to doing an audition. So they said okay, and I told them the time to come down. So the manager and one of the members from the group came down, saw me sing, and they were like, "We're sold. You're what I want. You're the guy we want." And that started from then and lasted 10 years until Tony Williams died. Now, I didn't know really anything about the Platters, their music. I knew that song I knew the song The Great Pretender. Oh yes, I'm the great pretender. I remember that song. Right? And maybe Only You, probably Only You, I think. But I didn't know they had all these songs. And I didn't know too much about them because that group was before my time. Matter of fact, by the time that group broke up was when I was born. I was born in 1959. That group was famous from 1955 to 1960. So I was only a baby when that group actually, I wasn't even born when that group got together, and I was only a baby when that group broke up. So I wouldn't have known their music, but I've heard their music. So when the opportunity came, so yeah, I'm, we were gonna have rehearsal, and we're gonna invite you to a rehearsal, meet all the other guys and stuff like that, which they did. Okay, so I've been on here for how long now? About 43 minutes. That's good for my first live. I'm going to have a lot of talking to do for this live broadcast, just to get used to this. I know I'm talking to myself because nobody's here. Eventually I'll start getting some people. I'll just have to keep doing this and keep making these videos. So I'm going to sign out for my first live. I'm going to try to do these lives maybe like twice a week, maybe every Tuesday and every Thursday. So my next one is going to be this Thursday. I'm going to do my next live. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to do my next live this Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Coast time. That's LA time. So you have to calculate your time from that time. So 3 p.m. Pacific Coast time, West Coast time, LA time. I'm living in LA now. And that's a whole nother story because I'm from New York. And I've been out here living in LA for the past 12 years. And before that, I lived 10 years in Japan, which is another story. So we got a lot to talk about. So yeah, I'm going to sign out now. And I will definitely get back on Thursday. And we're going to talk some more. And we're just going to talk. I'm just going to share all this information. Eventually, hopefully, I'll get some interaction with other people when they come on. and have some comments. So until then, I'm going to sign off now. But this felt good for my first live, and I'll be back again. So I'll see you guys. This is Teddy. Thank you. Bye-bye.